Merry Christmas, you filthy animals!
Aberdare, Shomai, hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Aberdare Park Road Races podcast, the Christmas special. We're feeling very festive, lads.
Yeah, Nadolig Llawen,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and whatever else. Episode 2.
Yeah, I think first of all, thanks to everybody who's listened to the first one and watched the first one. It's gone down really well so far from everything that we've heard so far.
Pretty positive, and so much so, Alex Sinclair,
Yes.
you rung me up straight away.
Get me on there.
Oh my God, you gotta get me on there, you gotta get me on there.
I'm used to following you around, so it don't matter, you know?
So Alex Sinclair is our first actual guest. So welcome, Alex.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely no problem at all. Also,
My
thanks
pleasure.
to Glenn from Gap Motorcycles for letting us
Nice one,
use facilities today. As always, mate, it's always just going to be a chat about your racing career so far, what you got plans, and just basically quite chilled out, isn't it?
Yeah,
So, I mean, like, a similar format to when we spoke to Jay, really. I mean, like, we started off with, where did it all kind of kick off for you? How did you fall in love with racing and bikes, and where did it all start?
Same as any other bloke boy, really, from my dad, my dad grew up doing, back in the day, he done classic road bikes, etc. Got into the motocross when he moved down here with my mum.
He used to do a lot with East Wales, wasn't he?
He done ANCA and everything, yeah. We went all over the place with motocrossing. So that's how I grew up. That was my love, and it still is, really. Stefan Everts was my idol. That's what I wanted to be like. We went here, there and everywhere, and then he stopped in, I'd say, early 2000s maybe, with the dirt bikes, got back into the classic racing, and I had no interest in it whatsoever, like road bikes. Not a dickie, bro. Stefan Everts was my man, and that's what I wanted to be. Even though, without knowing it, I sort of knew everything about it. You know who the Rossies is, this, that, and the next thing. And the only road racing I was involved in or followed was Aberdare, because obviously only been over the mountain. And then it just happened. Yeah, I got into classic racing. And
How did you go down the classic route then? Because I first heard of you in classic circles.
It's not the stereotypical route, is it?
We started club racing and all this, and then Alex Sinclair, Good Valleys boy, he's doing well with the CRMC or whatever, doing the classic stuff.
I think it's just the thing that, what paddock you're in, you know what I mean? Like, if you grow up with your dad doing North Gloucester, you go North Gloucester, Bempsey, whatever.
Yeah.
He went back classic racing with his best mates, he grew up with, they were still doing it. He got what did he get? I think he went and bought he bought an RD 400, and he's bought it off this guy, and it's all fast, Stan Stevens shit, it's all singing, no dancing, and he's buying this bike, and the bloke's pretty much telling him he can't finish one race on it because it's just too tuned, and I'm thinking, what are you buying it for? We went to Lyddon the week after. By the Saturday night, we was in the van on the way home.
Lyddon, mind?
Yeah, all the way to Lyddon. And I'm like,
Couldn't find a closer meeting.
Yeah, obviously for us at the time, it weren't too bad. We were based in Swindon then, weren't we? Obviously, we come to that later. And then, we was home by the Saturday, and I'm like, that's a load of shite. I'm not interested in that. Well, go back dirt bike racing. Let's go do something. And he's like, no. Then he went and bought Eddie Lawson replica, like a Z750 foul thing, sit up in bed, Kawasaki job.
How old are you at this point?
I was 15, 16. And then Snetterton was the next round. And, up until this point, I'd been, I'd been to every race. I never missed a race meeting with him, happened as far as I can remember. And I'm like, no, I'm not coming. He said, what do you mean not coming? it's not for me, like, you know, I'm happy, I'll just go and do my own thing now. So I ended up going, and it's Friday, pissed down all day on the track day. I had a little shitty tech next to the van, which I, you know, growing up motocrossing, it was mint, but you're there, you're in the mud, you know it's part of it. On my bike or whatever, they never used to see me. I used to be off getting stinking dirty somewhere, you know. Even if we go and he still laughs now, you go somewhere, we wouldn't have like a spot of rain for 4 or 5 weeks. And every motocross track we went to, I knew where that wet patch would be.
Yeah.
And all weekend I'd be back and forth. You know, I'd be dressed like I'm racing.
Yeah,
you know,
a boy being a boy.
All the schoolboys living the dream, but I wanted to be them. They were laughing at me because I was on my bike, like, and I just wanted to be them, like, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a massive, like, jealousy, envy there. But at the time, like, he always said to me, you can race when you can pay for yourself. Like, and I'm like, you know, and looking back now, I'm glad he's done that because it gives you the value of, you know, the position I'm in now. I'm very fortunate, and I know, you know, I'm not taking the piss with it. Like, you know, I put 110% in because my sponsors do.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we go to Snetterton, and it's a 500 race. So, you know, the main, and in classic racing, like the 500 Group 1 CRMC Championship, it's died a little bit of death now, because same as everything, like, you know, is the best classic racing in the world, period. You know, if you win that, you're technically a world champion, you say. So, and they're like, let's go and watch these. I'm like, no, I'm all right. And my dad's best friend, Vince, bless him, he was a year ago, he died a year ago. He's like, come and have a look at this. If you don't like this, then fair enough, you don't come back. Yeah. So I've gone over the back, straight at Snetterton, you're under the bridge. First lap comes through, Lee Goalie, Glenn English. Both on Manx Nortons, one on the Summerfield, one on the Royal Manx. And Glenn English is he's the only classic world champion ever. So, like, for 2 years...
Oh, they run a world champion. Was that the one Barry Sheen and all them?
Yeah. So for 2, I think... I might be wrong. I think it was called Inca. I'm not sure. And they run adjacent to World Superbikes, GP, sort of that stuff.
Like Gardner and all them.
Yeah, you know, you had all the top old GP boys, because Sheen was riding for Walmsley, Gardner, and all that. Yeah. You had the John Cronshaw, you know, all the proper boys.
John Cronshaw's Gold Star, man.
Yeah. It's the fastest Gold Star, and, you know, it's faster than the G50. You know, if that come out now in a Group 1 race, it'd win. But the trouble is, it's a one race type of bike. It's that much on the limit, I think. You know, you look at it, and the frame is all handmade. You think that's going to snap in half, and it weighs like...
He went Daytona and everything.
Yeah, he's gone on. Yeah. So it was... where was we at?
Inca,
yeah. So Glenn was like, you know, and he wanted the 2 years on the bounce, and then they stopped it then. So they come down, him and Glenn and Lee Goalie, and Lee Goalie is like, he's the Rossi of classic racing, he's the god, like, you know. They've come down, and I don't know which one it was. I think it was Lee's gone round the outside of Glenn, and gone round the outside of him under the bridge, and his back wheel touched his front wheel, and Glenn didn't flinch, the bars are giving him all that, and he's gone round, I'm like, whoa. And in the lap after, Glenn repaid the favour. And in the lap after, they're coming down the straight, giving it that, and then Glenn, and then Lee's done it, and I just thought, fuck, I want a bit of that. And then from there, both never looked back.
That was the spark.
But but while missing out, the Liddon meeting, so the meeting before, they had a bit of a coming together, and Glenn ended up at the top of the pin, and Glenn ended up on the floor where he blamed Lee. So the next lap he's coming around, it was like one of these cartoon movies. He's trying to get on the track to push him off, like, you know, it was one of them ones. And from here then, I'm like, right, that's what I got to do, like. So I think got that season out of the way, and I'm like, come on, look, I want to do it. He's like, get a job. So when I was in college, I'd done 4 hours a night in Thames Water, just cleaning, emptying bins, just to get some money together.
Fair play too, though.
Because I was lucky enough, one of the guys, Andrew, so going back to my dad's friend Vince, he's well into the Bridgestone 200. So Bridgestone tyres, in the 60s or whatever it was, weren't they? They made bikes, disc valve twins. I think it was 175, 200, 350s. And then
they worked hard there.
Yeah, they started getting, you know, they started putting it to the main manufacturers. So then they turned around and said to them, well, look, if you don't stop making these bikes, we ain't gonna buy your tyres. And they sort of all got together, so they had their hands tied.
Yamaha by Bridgestone out.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they did.
I'm not sure. So they're lucky enough. I had a bike supplied ready for me. I just had to finance the rest of it myself. And it got to a point through the next season, I'm like, I can't go no more. And then in the end, one day, I did a little post-it notes, the big thick ones. So Dad went to bed before me one night. That's all I'd done was ACU. Put ACU. So as soon as I got up, toilet, on his fags, on his kettle. So I know the morning routine he's got. I put ACU all over the place. And within 10 o'clock, he's phoned me, you got ACU test in fucking 2 weeks, whatever. And then that was it, man.
So, you started riding classics. What sort of championship are you in then?
CRMC. So classic racing.
So did you have the urge or the want to try the club racing, or was it just purely classics?
At the time, it was just classic because that's what I was into, and I knew.
Well, that's what you brought up around as well.
And I knew the modern stuff was very expensive, you know, and I like different stuff. I'm not like I want a person to go with the flow like at everybody else does.
Me and you were of that similar.
And it's the same as like I do a lot of enduro riding now. You know, we put into the extreme stuff, and I've got a TM300. But as an enduro bike, it's great. But as an extreme bike, it's not. But I'm pursuing with that. Like you know, I've just spent £1,200 on it. You know, trying to better it for that side of it. But as what it's made for, it's the fucking best bike, one of the best bikes out there. But they like, all the boys are like, go and get KTM, get a gas can. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, conform.
Just follow it. I'm not like that. I never have been, you know. Growing up through school, and I still do now, I suffer very bad dyslexia. So growing up through school, I was shit, like, you know. If I couldn't do it, I was playing up, you know, and I had all the help given to me. But I just, you know, young, dumb, and just like I don't need that. You're a kid. Like if I take that, they're gonna be looking at me, sort of thing, you know. And where now I'm just like, if I don't know what anyone thinks, they can think. Like you know, it's to that stage. So going back to then, obviously I done the year in the Bridgestone. And then we tried developing it for the year after, and it didn't really go right. And then I was breaking down more when I was doing it. And so I got to the point then, what am I doing? I didn't like it then. So it didn't, you know, the love sort of fell out quite early. And I thought
I think that's what happens with a lot of newcomers is they buy shit.
Yeah.
You pay for what you get.
So like I was lucky in my career that my dad, you know, he wheeled and dealed, and he knew a fair bit about bikes and cars and all that. So he always bought stuff that wasn't worn out and stuff. Like we'd buy a bike that would just won the last race or whatever, right? That's coming home in the van with us. And I'm lucky that I didn't have that, because I think again that would have broke me. You know, great.
Especially when you put all that effort in.
Your own money and everything.
To be fair, it weren't so much the bike. What we done, we put a new ignition on it, thinking it would make it better, and it didn't. Like you know, and so that was that. And then Vince again. You know, had a lot to do with it. Vince did. With you know my early career, right? And at the time then this guy was importing like 85, 86 or 84, 56, like the early RS 125s in from Japan. But they were peanuts then. Nobody wanted them. So he was getting crates in. I saved up myself for it, but I gave him $2,000 for it. I was giving my nan money to save for me, and I go, no, and it was an 85 RS 125 Honda thing. And I done the last round of that year on it, which would have been 2008. I done the last one of Snetterton on it, and then I bought the bike off him for 2009. And then from there on, I won the 2 championships. So I won 2009 and 10 championship. We got. So what they do, because obviously they're the GP bike, and then you got the MT125, which is the piston port, like the road.
Yeah, that's what Daffy.
Yeah, what
raced,
Daffy
isn't it?
was. So like.
Those races are some of the best races of the day. Like,
It's unreal, you know. Ant Hart, and he still is like a top doer now, like Anthony Hart, you know, Gaylord we call him. No offense to anyone, like that's a personal joke. And he's still the man now to whatever he's on, and he was the man on the MTs, and I was the guy on the RS in the same race but different class. And it was, well, you know, he's only winning because he's on an RS, and it was massive politics towards it. They ended up, you know, it weren't nothing to do with Ant. It was the organizer of the club, like another club of the 125 thing. They ended up split gridding us and stuff like that. Like, you know, I remember at Snetterton one race, I qualified first. They split gridded us, and I think they ended up having a minute head start, and I passed him. I think Ant won the race outright, but I passed the second on the road on the last lap. Just dragged him over the line, and it was the guy who organised it.
Oh,
So
right.
as he had the sheen, he had the two-finger sheen going over the line, like fucking grab one of them.
But to get like 2 championships under your belt with all the work you had put in behind the scenes, I mean, that must have been pretty
for me,
fulfilling, really.
Yeah, you know, because up to that point, obviously through school and everything, I failed a lot. You know, up until life, I failed at that point. When I just started racing, I thought, right, that's it, mint. And then I fell really ill. I got my what's it called, appendix taken out, but it turned out not to be that. So long story short, I've had pretty much a meter of my bowel taken out from Crohn's disease, and then I ended up having an abscess in my back passage, and now size of a melon, and I went away from popping, and he said if it popped I would have been gone, like, you know. I went from 9 stone to 6.5 stone in 2 weeks.
And when was this?
Or
did you find out about this?
2000 and, well, I was 18, so like 2008ish, yeah, something like that. Oh. You know, just as I started, like I'd done my first year's racing, and then it was in between it. And I was in hospital for 5 weeks. Had a colostomy bag for 8 months, and you know, and I still suffer with it now. Like the last two Manx Grand Prix I've been to, I've ended up in hospital over there for a couple of days, and they've had to pump me out and build me back. I had a blockage over there, and it's bugging me, like. So that was a big push to get through all that. So that was a massive setback. But you know, you just push on, don't you? You just get on with it.
But you can't let it beat you.
No, you can't, and you know, and it's looking back now, and you think, you know, and this. Again, a cliche thing, I thought I was the only one, and I did, but so many stories now where your John McGuinnesses, your Joe Ackroyds and all them, you know, I was popping Tramadol like no tomorrow. I was smashing the Oromorph down me like no tomorrow. You know, on the hour, like every pill I'd have a mouthful of Oromorph. And it weren't until the point that, like, I got it reversed and everything, and then I still had stitches inside coming out. So I had to go back in for like a day surgery. So I, like the night before, I got myself dosed up, thinking going in the morning, come out, it'd be happy days. Done that, and I ended up blacking out. I got up once, went out to the kitchen. I ended up blacking out and falling under the stairs. And I'm like, you know what, I need to like.
Were you fearful that, like, if you were out on track racing or whatever, that
well,
you
it
could have
was
a bit of a relapse?
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about it. You're just in your own little bubble in there. That's all. Because, you know, for me, it was, I was beating the pain before it got to me. If you know what I mean. Yeah, rather than waiting for it, I'm thinking, right, and then you just get into a routine, don't you? And
the training kicks in as well.
Yeah, you know.
And the morphines are worse.
Yeah, and I had on prescription, and they weren't questioning how much I was going through. You know, once I first had the operation, I come out and, you know, like they give you big syringes or more for pumps into you. Yeah. So obviously, I was only going in for a routine operation. My mother and father went to the pub down the road for food, come back, and this is like, you know, 5 hours are gone now, and I hadn't come back. And I'm like, you know, it was literally a 5 hour operation. And then I've come back with like a bag here, a bag there, catheter, like all these pipes canyon, you know, it was serious. So I can vaguely remember waking up in the room down the bottom after theatre, you know, they wake you up.
Recovery room.
Yeah, and I've seen it, and I'm like,
Well, you're going to shit yourself.
and
there,
I pulled it, and as I pulled it, I can remember this lady hitting a red button. And then the next thing, I woke up on the ward to my mother, like, to the doctor, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, typical valley girl, she let him have it, like. You know, she's the most loveliest woman you'd ever meet, but you mess with her, then you're going to know about it. So then it was all kicking off again. So I've done the same thing. I started pulling everything off. This button's been hit, and I've woke up in this little room on my own, like, you know, not far off with all these people around me. And there's the partner at the time, there's, you know, all these people there, and I can remember her face seeing me like, shit, well, you know, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm in shape here. This isn't a routine operation. Like.
So how long did it take to recover then off that? Like,
I was
before you went back.
I was in hospital for 5 weeks. I had the bag for 8 months. It was a good, like, and obviously before it was going on for a year before. You know, I was going to the toilet 20 times a day sometimes, just water. You know, and it's like something's not right with me. And then they tried saying that it was where I had my appendix out, my body hadn't settled. I had piles, I had this, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's something
is not adding up.
The only reason I got diagnosed with it, so my dad's sisters, he got twin sisters. Unfortunately, one's not here anymore, but he got twin sisters, so her daughter was going through the same thing. So it's my cousin, but they said it's different blood, I don't know. It's not hereditary as such, because there's nothing down the line, but then arthritis is hereditary in that. So my dad's got bad rheumatoid, and his dad had it and stuff, and her mother's got it. And it's all the same drugs, and it's all an interlink. So we probably ended up with that rather than the arthritis. But I've got it in my knees now already, I think. And like, you know,
that's from wrestling that TM on the extreme.
Well, you're 34, you just did 37.
Oh, don't know.
I bet there's people like listening and watching to this.
In my day, 3 years before.
He's scratching around.
Oh, my legs.
But going to Aberdare. Obviously you're a Rhondda boy, you're a Merthyr boy and an Aberdare boy, so we've got a proper valley.
Proper fight boy.
It's going to be a good scrap. First time at Aberdare Park, what did you must have known about it growing up, and like your first racing there, spectating, what was the first memories of it?
So it's the park for me. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the park. So how it goes, so my uncle, my dad's brother, met a Welsh girl at Butlins one weekend. Yeah, it turned out that, it worked out, they were getting married, and obviously my old man's well into it, knew about Aberdare. He always wanted to do the park. On his Kajiva 80s, like you are, all that sort of stuff. Like, he was a 50-80 rider back in the days. And he didn't have anything to do that weekend. So he was like, his brother said, I'm going. He said, do you know what? If it's not far from Aberdare, I'll come down. They said they're having a party or something down.
Yeah.
Not they really got on then. They don't talk now, but that's irrelevant. So anyway, he come down, met my mother, obviously, and my mother then is my auntie's sister. So what's happening? Long story short, 2 brothers married 2 sisters.
Right.
But the boys say I'm the inbred one because I was the second one, even though I'm the better looking one and I've done the best.
Hang on, get shoes on, couple of toes.
Couple of toes, one long, one left. So
finish.
Big man, he's the same, let's be honest.
So you can imagine the joke.
Part of that finish.
And like my cousin, I got my cousin, he's just from there, he's like, you've met Callum before, he comes in here a lot, like he's only a couple of months younger than me. Like. So, and we in the same group of friends, so you can imagine the banter. So then, my mother and father started talking, and he said to her, like, how far's Aberdare from you? And I think the race was on the week before.
Right.
So it's like, and that was pretty much their first date. They went to Aberdare Park because that's what it was. And 34 years later, we fucking sat there doing this. Like,
Crazy. So,
Yeah, and then
and
that
you get your
was
first impressions of like
Yeah,
racing and all that
my
come about?
first impressions of it, and I'll always, and that's, I wanted to race a quad round the park. Even though we were saying earlier how shit they are, you know, and all this, not
They
like
used
that
to,
was
didn't they? They were great.
Yeah,
lads back
yeah,
then,
but
didn't
then-
they?
Trevor Leckie on the
350, 350
Oh, yeah.
Banshees
Yep,
and
yeah.
all them big boys
Yeah,
round
quality.
that park on them quads, on slick tyres. Just like, it's fucking, unless you can tell, unless they see it.
Stonyford Concrete, wasn't it? Was that the sponsor, Trevor
Maybe,
Leckie?
yeah, it's gone back
Yeah.
The
on,
guy on the
wasn't it?
big old KX 500
Yeah,
with his
Wayne Lamb,
number
yeah.
0,
That's right,
yeah,
yeah.
and all that.
Well, that's why I run Zero a few years back. To pay homage to that.
Yeah. So that was my first, you know, and it was, I can't remember how old I was, but I know I was young. And
Well,
then-
Wayne Lamb being there, that would have been... No,
No, it was in the
way
90s,
before that.
yeah,
That was-
yeah,
Wayne's
That
there
was
then.
that was from maybe 89 to
Oh,
about
yeah.
95,
95. I was going to say probably 95. It's, I don't think I only seen him maybe once, twice.
because the Wayne
like, you
Lamb
know.
bike, funny enough, was for sale in Stoneleigh, Coventry, Stoneleigh
Auction,
Park.
Yeah.
In the motocross show, they have the beginning of the season motocross
That's
show
right,
up there.
yeah.
The International Motocross Show in Stoneleigh Park. It was for sale there with the
Really?
supermoto
And
wheels on it and
it was the
everything.
original
Yeah,
bike,
it was
wasn't I
Wayne-
think he still had
Wayne
the
Lamb's
stickers
bike.
on the number board.
Yeah.
like.
And it sold
He'd
a
have to
bit.
come back to the park a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, we've got
Yeah.
we've got a KX 500 and
Yeah.
we've got supermoto wheels for it. So,
Decent things there, I don't know.
Would
but
be
I
good.
don't think I'm man enough to
What,
ride
what,
that.
what were you riding first time at the park? And,
The 85 RS125,
and
yeah.
how did you find this? Sort of go around,
Oh, it was
Class.
it was a mega, like, it's, so going out, obviously want to race the quads around there, and then it was actually, he's never pushed me into anything, but he almost pushed me into coming, and obviously I'm glad I did, like, not that I said no, and I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, first road race, you know,
Yeah,
I hadn't
yeah.
long been doing it, you know, all the in the classic race was big back then, weren't
Yeah.
they? You know, you had proper guys.
Oh,
in there, like-
I remember going around there like
and
Vernon,
it was only
Vernon Glacier
yeah,
and all
only
them.
up until I'd say 2017, maybe 18. The classics I dropped off, and apart up until then, you know, it was up there. Then.
Richard Piers Jones.
So
and
yeah,
all.
you had Richard Piers Jones, and it was a mixture of bikes. It weren't just like a 500 race. You had like your 350s, TZs, and 4-strokes out there, your K4s. You had your 500s, you know, your 125s, your 80s, whatever. But yeah, I done all right. Trouble is, I was obviously qualifying. I'd done crap because I never been there before. Like round the back of the bandstand, you know, I was doing what you would be on the brow. I was over the right,
sorry.
like trying to
Yeah,
get like
yeah.
125 sweepers. And then Ted Edwards, so his name's Alan Edwards, but we call him Father Claus, Ted Edwards, you know, and I think he still owns the 250 singles lap record, eh? From like, you know, and he's a proper classic god, one of the boys, really good friends with him from the CRMC and that, like, and later on then he ended up, the guy, Steve Caffin I raced so in the Manx for like 7 years was through Ted, like, you know, so you know, everything just comes round in a circle, doesn't it, one way or another. So I was sort of at the back of the grid. I think I might qualified middle of the grid, but the trouble is on the 125 with all them bikes, the time I got the first corner I was last. So you know, you're just
Yeah,
fighting
of course,
your way through,
Through.
get to like
Yeah.
top 5 or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it was and then I done it the year after. I done it the year after, and it was probably the similar thing, like, you know, but I was better. I had more of the
Experience,
qualifying,
confidence.
so I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
support. And then I missed a year. For some, I don't know, I missed a year for some reason. And then I come back with a full fleet, then, like, you know, and then we had a full swing at it. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
so-
talking of wins, we're trying to get our hands on like as many of the records and results from way
Yeah.
back, you know, and we're trying to get our hands on them. But your win record is actually quite impressive.
for the short time I done it, yeah. But the thing is, it's like, apart from the go-karts and the 600s, I was in every race.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing 23 races a weekend. I think one weekend I won 18 of them. and didn't get off the podium in the Sound of Thunder and Twins.
Yeah.
Like.
So when we chatted briefly the week, it was you've won a race at every class bar the 600 Park Challenge and the Open, which we'll come to in a bit. But so you obviously found your groove in the park and with what you were riding.
It was. Some people might say the competition went there, this and the next thing, but I think it was because you look back at the races. Me and Richard Pierce Jones going at it. I had a dice or a race, so I beat everyone that was somebody at the park.
Yeah.
Through them, whether it would have been the 50.
Well, win to win, you could only only beat who's in front of you.
Yep.
Whether it was the 50 race, or the Welsh Classic, or the Forgotten Era, or whatever. I had. The one year we had a similar thing to any others here. We had the Minarelli 50. RS125, a 350 Gold Star in a CV chassis, a 500 Gold Star in a CV chassis.
Were those the green and yellow bikes?
The Bob Light bikes.
They were trick.
Yeah. A matchless G50 in a CD chassis, and then we had Luigi Motors TT750. So we had like 6 bikes here at one point.
A busy weekend.
And when I say I'm in and out, I was literally in the end. So when you're coming off the track, you got a little bit where the bus used to be.
Yep.
We literally, in the end, it was every bike was parked down in. I was in, off.
Quick swing, back
Well,
out.
at the time, then it was on there, and then we was getting the holding area was down the bottom.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was literally like a GP Marquez off on.
It's almost like an endurance event.
Off on. We always do a routine, have a handshake before we go. Quick bang off. Down the bottom, my mother would be there, or like my sister and the kids, because same with you, like everyone comes, So she'd be there with my drink, have my drink, literally put it on.
Off you go.
The only good thing for me, but it's a bad thing as we spoke about before, is the amount of time you got to wait between races.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is.
Like the tyres are getting cold.
It's not so much on the classic bike because you don't run tyre warmer.
I never run tyre warmer. I only run tyre warmers.
This is probably your third season.
This is my first proper full season on tyre warmers. Aberdare Park this year was my first proper go on wets. That's why it took me a while on the Saturday, didn't I? I was struggling a bit on the Continental tyre, on the Continental wets. They were a bit old, so I was struggling a bit on them for edge grip. And then I spoke to Dan Cooper because he was here with all his setup, and he's like, right, Dunlops, I put them in, and it was like, fucking what a difference. Because even though I'm on a classic tyre on a wet, I'm a bit.
Well, there's still some class pictures of you on the. Those are
with the rain bouncing back up on it.
There's been some class pictures on the grey. What are they? G50s, 7Rs.
Originally it was a Vincent, and now it's
the Good Day Vincent, is it?
Yeah.
There's some class pictures of you fully cranked over with your donkey suit on.
It's quality, right?
On just treading tyres, not in wets like.
And people say that it was like. You can't run on that, and it's like you can. And going back to the League Glen English, you're watching the way they go on wets, and it was like,
and you've got to go that quick.
And it's a picture of League on Brands Hatch, and everyone knows Brands Hatch in a wet is like an ice rink. And he's going around to the last corner, clear. He's fully banked over, his knees on the fairing. I might have it on my phone. The knees on the fairing, and his knees on the floor, and the spray coming off it, and he's just on Avon AM22, 23s, So, as a wet classic tyre, if the rain comes, everyone's like, you've been doing the rain dance, because I'm being big-headed, I'm winning it. So I was thinking, I was almost riding it almost like a classic wet, rather than just go for it. The only time I've experienced that is when we went to Sydney Motorsport Park in 2019, and I read the TT1 Ducati over there for a guy called Bob Garner, and Brandon. It was the meeting actually got abandoned in the end because it was that bad. And he said, brand new Pirelli's in it. He went, as soon as you go out in Sydney, first corner, tight hairpin, He went, go out straight away, bang it on, knee on the floor and just go for it. I'm like, what? He said, because they'll only get worse. And that's what I done. And I'm like, oh shit. So then,
That's how it works.
yeah, so then going back to the Aberdare Dunlop situation, I thought, right, do what Bob said, and then that's when it happened.
So
Like,
around that era in the park where you're starting to rack up the wins, you know you're in your groove. It was around that time then you were standing, heading over, one to think about heading over to the Isle of Man.
Well, I
the
was
Manx. I mean, how did the Manx sort of come about, and what was the whole process behind
the
that?
Isle of Man was always, even before I knew about, even I was going back, I didn't have an interest in road racing. There was always something, you knew about the Isle, everyone knows about the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
You see the videos, you know, growing up, you watch your stuff, and there was always something there, like, you know, it just took my fancy. And then the game come out, didn't it? So everyone's on the game.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Swindon, like my god brother really, just all we done was play, and I said to him, I'm gonna do that one day. And this was before I wanted to road race. I'm gonna do that one day, even though I didn't have an interest in it, so I didn't know how I was gonna do it.
So Aberdare was your first road race.
Aberdare was the first,
and then the Manx was the second.
And I'd never, the first time I went to the Manx was to race the Manx. Never been to the Isle of Man, nothing before. First time I went, it was
no flying over doing that.
Nothing,
Just
straight in back.
played the game.
We didn't really like
Is that how you sort of learned the track? I mean, obviously.
PlayStation.
It's a game,
PlayStation, yeah. And I done a.
It sort of gets you knowing where you got to go, though.
Yeah, you don't want to be going.
Yeah, you know what?
Right or left,
you say that, and then I do. What I.
Or you get lost in places.
Yeah, and I done do onboard laps now. Like, you know, last time I went, it was like we went in 19. I didn't go there last year. Up until 19 to where when I went this year, I probably done 3 onboard laps. I'm not like, I can't even.
But who's onboard laps you watching? Your own?
I watch my own. I watch like the your Milkies and that.
Well, I tried to watch the Anstey one.
It's too much, man.
And it's just too fast.
It's too much.
It's just
not taking it in there.
It's
you know,
speed.
I even watch my own stuff, and
Yeah.
you get halfway through the lap, and you're like,
Yeah,
because
I
you just want to do it, like, you know, you just like, oh, I've had enough now. I can't wait 8 months for that shit. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Because until you do it, you can't explain to you. You can say, oh, it's this, it's that. You can't explain to people what it does to you.
Yeah.
You know, that high, low, just the whole atmosphere, the whole experience, everything about it. Whether you're doing 80 mile an hour lap or 180 mile an hour lap.
What is your fastest lap speed on there?
This year was my PB on the Aprilia, 111 and a half.
Going on a twin.
And I'd only done. Will tell you exactly what I'd done. I think I'd done 10 laps in the whole week, the whole fortnight, and that's including the 4 lap race. You know.
Yeah.
Because again, I was at the hospital. So it was me.
You enjoy the twin round there?
Oh yeah. Oh, mega! It's mint. It is it is mint.
Favorite corner, favorite section. What's the one that really just
It's different. I really like.
It is hard to ask that question.
Sorry, I'll go back to that. So the video I watched it's an old Dave Roper. You got an old G50. Well, it's the proper one of the first big cameras on one of them. That's the video.
Yeah.
I got a DVD.
Was he on like the Art of Matchless or something?
Oh yeah, G50. What's it called? G50. Yeah. Good friend of ours, Paul Woods from Norfolk, gave it to me, and I watched that religiously. That was my. But then as soon as you go over there, forget everything you ever learned.
Yep.
Well,
you just got to do it yourself.
Yeah, I went out on my newcomers lap. I can do this, like, you know what I mean? I forgot what I thought. Anyway, so I was going there and I thought he was on a triple. Yeah, it's alright. This is alright. Yeah, I can win this. Not win it, right? But you know, it's alright. It's alright.
Yeah, not on my comfort zone.
Yeah, following him. And it's the same as everyone says. Yeah, I followed him. Went on my own. Where am I?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Where am I? It's just blank. And you know, corner. The places I really struggled with. So when you come Michael, Rencal, and then you go out, you go all the way through Bishop's Court and all the way through that, and it's all flat now, King, you know, it's all line to line to line, but it's all, the road, it's all straight cut, but you can't see the road, and it's all over trees, so you're rolling, and then your Ginger Hole section, so, like, when you first come into Ginger Hole, you come up over into the bumps, and it's a left-hander, but that one, and then the one just before the K-tree, to me, that section's quite the same, but the one's faster than the other corner, so it was like, I didn't have a clue where I was, and I thought, this is not for me. Like fair enough, I tried, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But little did I know that they were stopping us at Ramsey Aping because of the fog. We did get delayed, but when you're in that holding area, you can't hear nothing. First time out on my own as well, so that's all I can hear is my heart going do-do, 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 do-do. You know, feeling sick and everything you do. Stopped us in Ramsey, and when I say the queue, it was like from Ramsey up to Schoolhouse on bikes, and I couldn't see Chris from here, like, you know, that's how bad the fog was. So then they travel marshaled us up and all over the top, and I just sat on the white line, middle of the road all the way. I got back and I was like, nah, it's not for me. Like, slept on it, I had to go the next night, mint. And then just chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped
Understood
away.
where you were going.
Just
I mean,
chipped
like,
chipped away.
I went my first time at TT this year.
It's crazy,
mad.
isn't it?
It's bonkers. Everyone says bottom of Bray Hill. It's still insane. Like Hillbury.
I've never watched at the bottom of Bray. Until I'm finished, I won't bother watching.
I've
gone to the top of Bray Hill. I got a nice little place in by the school, little cup of it, like where nobody goes. Can watch parade. It's literally on St. Ninians, you know, it's just parade.
Me and Kelvin, as you know, we had a place this year. We stayed just before you get to St. Ninians Crossroads. The whole thing. But I mean, do you have any plans to go back?
Yeah, we're going back next year.
What about
sorry, some favourite sections?
Yes, yeah.
Rambling on me.
No.
I really like. I do like the first part of it, even though it's my weak. Even though I'm always slowest on the first section. Like out of the box, I'm not that good for it. I don't know.
Start from grandstand, like
and I don't know if it's because
Is that because you've been on a classic?
Well, I think possibly. I'm probably too gingery through like Quarterbridge, Brad.
But there again, you can mess it up in that first section.
Then I think I try and make up for it then. When you start getting into like Greba Castle and that's where my bit goes then. You know, Greba Castle, I love it all the way through there. All the run really, right to like to Balafla, you know, all that it's just, and I think the first part of it up to the check there, and I think I just pushed too much, almost short circuit, scratchy, rather than just flowing, where, you know, I haven't done a lot of short circuits this year, and then I've gone there, and like my dad said, you know, you first off the block, because I thought that was crap again. He went, no, it was good. Like, you know, it's better than it has been. So, we got there. All of it really. It's not a bad bit on it. Waterworks is a bit pants, you know, up through there.
Yeah, you know, Sammy Miller on Waterworks.
Yeah, you know, it's bits. It's bits, you know, that you just gotta like go right through.
Yeah.
It's bits, you know, you gotta bite your tongue on and just like. But the whole thing is just like end the Concavalli when you've got that right, like you know about the at bottom of Bagaro, like top and bottom of Bagaro. When you get them, it's special. It's special. Like,
pretty mental seeing the pictures from there.
It's insane. It's so good.
The one year, my last year, 19 I should say, well before the COVID break and what have you. And when you're coming down into the bottom of a guy, you're on the curb, you're on the white line, like the hedge is there, it's no curb there effectively, it's just a white line. And you got the drain at the bottom. So where the bridge is of the bottom of there, you got like a white wall. And then there was a guy there every practice week, every practice night and every race, this guy stood there, he had a bald head, mind, right? So the first night, he was on my point, hit the drain, bang, mint in. Second night, third night, fourth night. Well, the one night, he must have moved up a bit. Because I've seen him and tipped. Well, I tipped too early, didn't I?
Helmet scrapes all
Oh
over.
no, it was nearly a curb out the other side more
Just
like
stay where you are
that.
every
Yeah.
night. Yeah,
It
just
was
don't
nearly,
move.
yeah, it was
point
nearly,
them in the neck. Down.
it was a hutchy job nearly that.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
scary down there, man, if you get that one wrong. But
So I'm like, I'll just stick to my drain from now on.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah,
and
yeah.
he was there this year as well. And I'm like,
Because technically the 660, that's not the first modern. All right, that's the newest bike you've ridden around there. But you raced the 400 for Steve.
yeah, the 400.
I got on the podium on that.
I've had, I think, I've raced it 6 times. I've had four thirds
fair
on
play.
it. Like, you know.
yeah.
Put a good 400 together. Then.
Yeah, it's a really
What is
good
F?
foot.
FZR?
FZR, you know, and it's the original one he had from back in the day, the old Cadbury Boost School one. It's the RRSP.
Yeah, so it's the special
it's
one.
the
trick
proper one.
Now,
Like,
someone pulled one of them out for the Manx this year, but I can't remember who had one.
I don't know.
It was Steve Islop's old one.
Yeah, I don't think it went out well. Did
Yeah, but they were all talking about it like it's the
Yeah,
holy grail
yeah.
of it.
it? Well, it's
And
two.
you know, you've got to ride one,
It's-
like you've got
it's
to race
two-
one and get on the
They
podium.
reckon it's 2 people that can build them proper. One's Steve Linsdale,
Yeah,
and the other's Gary Vardy. And I had the Gary
Wow.
Vardy done ours, and then
I-
Steve Linsdale. They reckon it's
Well,
the best one about.
I was
because all he wants to come. And
I
bring
was
it
at
back
the
out,
Northwest when they were sponsored by Anson, when they Anson Concrete or whatever, and
because he was a rider, Steve. Like.
and they had the Hanson 400 there. McGuinness had gone away from racing the RLR 400, so it was Michael Wilcox, British
Yeah.
125 champion,
Yeah.
because they used to run the 125s and 400s in together on the Northwest. And Wilcox had put it on pole by a couple of seconds from Ollie, and in the race they went at it hammer and tongs, and then next thing you know, Ollie pulled the pin, disappeared, gone.
Yeah, well, he won his newcomers race at the Manx, something like 12 minutes. I think when he crossed the line, second place was just coming into Ramsey.
Well,
Wow.
I
Michael
might be wrong, but it's something
Michael-
but
like
they found-
that.
yeah.
Michael Wilcox paid the money, right? Protest. That's a 600. It's not a 400. I remember they just had the celebrations and everything, give Ollie the win and all that. Wilcox, sole loser, put the money down. And Steve Linsdale was pulling the motor out, taking the head off, pulling the pistons out, laughing. I guess.
He knows what's coming.
'Cause he
like,
kn- yeah.
Because
Because it's all within the limit.
That
Exactly.
man is a fantastic engineer. He's the one now who the Enfield Bullet that Adam McLean, you know, they're getting 140 mile an hour out of an Royal Enfield Bullet.
Yeah.
You know, it's a proper bit of kit. this
Yeah,
bike.
yeah.
But Ollie's a rider. You know,
Well, he rode for Lucker.
well, that's what I was going to say. His dad was a rider, and he's
No, he's
gone
never
on-
been to the park, did he?
No, and like
That's a shame because he was an Ian Lucker rider.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would like to think that he'd come down.
he went on to very well, didn't he? He had the big crash, unfortunately, I think, which sort of put him on the back foot. Me and Ollie's, like, you know, at one point when I got on the Vincent and he had the Enfield, it was me and him, you know, it was the battle of the push rods, like, you know, it was who, like, you know, just me and him. So, but yeah, it was, the 400 was a really, really good bike round there. The thing is with the Yam, even though you're up in the rev range all the time, they scream a lot, the Yams, compared to, like, you know, the VFRs, you got that drive and bits and bobs, so the Kawasaki. I remember the year Darryl Tweed, I come third to Darryl Tweed the year he won it, I think. And he was gone, he was flying, like. And he passed me going into Ramsey Airpin on practice. And I thought he had a 600 the way he pulled on me out of the corner. And like my mechanic kept said, no, he said, that's a well sorted bike. But that's the trouble with the difference in the bikes.
Yeah.
Well,
with there not being a British Championship for 400s anymore,
Yeah.
because it died of death. didn't
And
it?
me not being a 400 rider,
Yeah.
you know, I got the best out of what I had as such.
It's
But-
a podium on the Manx.
but
So I've never had one,
no,
so.
what done it for that? We could have won that a few times, I think. But And I can see where the Steve is coming from, you know, because they've got the bike sorted, the airboxes there. And the thing is with the Manx, back then as well, they're a little bit like you now on the full stop strategies. You know, they'd only tell you 2 minutes before you go that you've got to come in, but only put a foot down and go. Well, we had like, say, standard tank. We didn't have an oversized tank on the 400, so we had to take fuel on no matter what happened. And then a couple of times, you know, so if you haven't got to take fuel on, you can come in, foot down and go. You know, and some of the boys weren't even like stopping. You literally putting their foot down,
just dragging their foot and going.
And they were gone, like, you know. And I was 30-40 seconds in the pit stop, and I lost the race a few times by like 40. You know, it was the difference between the full stop. Like, it was for me. It was massively frustrating. Like, you know, and I'm not saying anything bad about him. I love Steve and Chris to bits. Like, you know, what they gave me in the Manx, and I rid a 350 for them for 6 years, and I won the 350 privateers for them once.
Is that the one you brought to the park? Is that the TZ?
No, that was a K4. K4.
Like Jay said, that's it's a podium on the Manx.
Theoret. So I've stood on the podium there 6 times with the 4 400s and the 2 350 privateer wins. So that's the 6. But then if you class, so the Formula 2 race, like the 250s they had, then they put, so the 250, then the Formula 2 in with the race. Right. So it was like me, Pete Boast, Johnny Barton and that on, like, you know, the 4-stroke equivalent. So I was on the Doris Ducati, Boasty was on his GPZ, Johnny Barton was on a Ducati, the same as me, so like the 4-stroke side of it. So I got second in that category twice, but I didn't class that. So within the 9 years I've been there, I've had 8 podiums, if you think about it that way, like, you know.
I know a lot of our riders in the past have gone on to the TT. Is that something that is in the pipeline for you?
No.
And why is that?
I'm one of the lucky ones, and a very select few that get to ride the mountain course regardless in a race circumstances.
Do you think it's the stepping up and not being able to step back?
Or do you think that's going to stepping up is the trouble, isn't it? At the end of the day, like we said, I'm a classic racer. I'm not a modern rider, even though I'm getting into it now, and I can see why. Like, I thought about it, and my cousin Callum again sent me the other year. He said, "Do a TTN just to say you've done a TT," and I'm like, no. And I thought about it, knowing, like, you know, with the twins and that coming now, I'm thinking I could have a go at that. And then I see Hickman go round the outside of the French guy, round the outside of him into Handleys. And up the inside of Handleys, it's a brave move, like, you know. But not round the outside, and you know, and Victor was on the line, or whoever it was on the line, and he's on the grass to go round the outside of him. And at that point, I went, I've got no place on that track, no aspirations, no need to be on, because that's the race I would have done.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There are maybe a 600, you know. But I'd have to ride a 600 first anyway. I've only done a session around Andalusia on my mate's R6. That's the only 600 I've done. So, but no, I'm happy with the Manx. I still get to do it. Yeah. The pressure's off as such. Even though I put the pressure on myself going here, the pressure's off. When you're at the TT, it's pressure to perform. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's more for, and as far as the Manx is more for the everyman anyway.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, I disregard how much of a caliber rider you are, whether you're Josh Brooks or whatever you are. You should do a Manx Grand Prix before you shoot a TT.
Yeah.
Disregard the money, disregard anything. All right, the pressure will be on you because you're a household name, but the pressure's not going to be on you to do it. All right, it might be the circumstances here then when Mr. Joe Bloggs will never get to win a Manx because of Mr. Superstar going there, what have you. But it's not to say Mr. Joe Bloggs won't beat Mr. Superstar.
yeah, hopefully get them on track, innit? Yeah.
But you know, to finish first you got to finish.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah,
No,
that's
it's fair enough, though.
That's my fault on it. Like, you know, it's not. I haven't even been to watch it. Like, you know, it's not. I bet the pre-TT Classic is my thing. I mean to go to every year. Like, but it's just one thing and another. We haven't gone, and then we'd get to watch the TT yourself. But we're that busy anyway. Like, you know, this year has been my most quietest year racing in 17 years.
Well, last year you wrapped up the CRMC Supermoto Championship on the
Kramer.
the BMR Kramer.
Yeah.
Would you have liked to have taken that Kramer round?
Well, that was the plan,
Was
you
it?
know, to go last year with. That's why I never. That's no the reason why I didn't go. It was a lot why I didn't go, but that was, you know, when I got knocked back, and the trouble we was having with the 500s, I'm like, I ain't going. It's just leave it for the minute, like, you know. My head weren't in the right position to go anyway, so. And then they brought the class back this year for it, which was a bit of a kick in the nuts, you know. Because Lancelot, one of my good mates, Lancelot Unicef from France, Eddie lent him one, or they loaned one off Eddie.
Didn't Lancelot race a Supermoto round there though first?
No,
right?
No, Lancelot never
Who
raced.
was racing
It was
Supermoto?
an American guy
Was it?
come over, an American guy, and maybe a Japanese guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember.
Because the American guy had it first of all, and then he come back on the Kramer in 19, I think, you know, because Kramer bought a bit of a descent there. They had Sarah Boyle's, you know, Sean Anderson's partner, and they had a few other like good Kramer boys from Europe come over. And then this year they had Sean on a Kramer as well, like, you know. But Lance done really well on it. He done under an 8 man hour lap or something on it. You know? Well, he was, you know, well, Mikey Reesner was on the 400 I've been racing. Mikey was on it this year. And it was the three of them were going at it, you know, and on the last lap, it looked like Lance might have pulled it in. But then he got red flag and got cut to 2 laps, so the third lap got short, you know.
I've been looking at Aberdare Park, when we chatted previously before. We mentioned it earlier, you won in every class bar 2.
Yeah.
Is that the aspiration for you now going forward, is to get onto, like you said, you have that much experience with 600. Is that something that you've got to try and do? Is that the next step for you now?
The one class have gone because it was the go-kart, so that's... You know, being what we are, it's the same as yourself, you know, it's... The older I've gone, the more I've looked at the park. Yeah, you know, for me, I've got trophies from all over the place. You know, I've been to Phillip Island 3 times. I've got trophies from the Sydney. You know, I've been Beghead. I've been everywhere. I've been lucky enough. Like, and that's another reason why I didn't go modern racing because I've been racing 17 years and I haven't paid to race a bike in 15 years. Because, you know, I'm fortunate enough that the men in the classic club that
do it for the passion.
I mean, that's the same as you and Bob.
I'm a firm believer you make your own luck, and with everything that you've done to get racing in the first place, you stand and reap those rewards.
You know, like they lived in the poverty line when they were younger, always wanted to do it. They've made success of themselves and gone, you know, and they put it back into it.
And the sport will be lost for them.
Absolutely.
It'd be massively
so
lost. You know, it's such a big thingy. But my proudest trophy is one from Aberdare is the Stuart Cable Memorial Trophy, the one I won that year for. It's dedication to the spirit of the race.
Spirit of the race.
Dedication to the park, isn't it? You know, I don't know if it's because it's, you know, being a Valley boy, stereophonic, you know, it's like you say, it's the circles come around. The circles come around again, you know, that's like my proudest possession and trophy I've got, apart from my silver ladies, like, and my bronze ones, you know, that's the trophy that's there. And yeah, it'd be mint together. Obviously, I'd have to beat this twat first. Like,
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, the Welsh Open is a taboo subject anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
it's you
But
know,
it's not what everyone wants. isn't it?
if I was to turn around and say no, I haven't got no aspirations of winning it, then what am I?
Then what are you doing?
What's
What are
the
you
point?
turning up?
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
I like I said, I've won everything else. What's the point of hanging the levels up on the last? Even though it's a fucking massive thing to do.
Yeah.
First of all, I've got to get on the 600 to
Yeah.
even think about it.
Yeah, but it's not out the, it's not.
No,
Oh, it's not out of the
the realm.
Oh
like,
no! If someone
you
come
know.
up to me and said, "Look, I've got a good bike,
Fancy
sort
trying
a
it,
deal
yeah.
out, what have you." I haven't got a money to buy my own bike. It's it's no lie there. Like but if I get offered a good, a reasonably good bike, because I don't think you need a massively sped bike for on the park. You just need a good handling bike that
Yeah.
you're comfortable with, that's got some good drive,
I've done it on both ends of the spectrum. I've had all singing, all dancing. I've had absolutely bog standard suspension, standard road suspension, just on a set of supercoursers. And away you go.
Yeah, that's
Almost
it.
a stock
Which
style,
is what
Like more stock than super stock.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, look at the old Ducati we had. Like you couldn't get any stocker than that. Could
Yeah.
do for like a 19th, even though it was a fucking work of art, mate.
Yeah.
It was the best thing. It's the best bike I've ever ridden, like the Luigi bike. So yeah, I'd have to get up to speed and do a bit on it. I thought the twin. I thought we might be in for a good result on the twin, but I soon realised like that was out of the window. Looking at what you do on Katie, that just goes to prove how well you ride it around it. Even though we've had the conversation, that bike.
Well, look at us to Donington. We had a good old ding dong at Donington, didn't we?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
And seeing what you've done on Katie in the Welsh Open, getting on the podiums and all that, but yourself with Aberdare, you've got to be on that top three. Second row, maybe the two on the second row. If you're anywhere further back,
you make work for yourself.
Yeah, you're massive.
You've got to put the work in. You've got to put the work in Saturday morning, bang, straight from the off. Otherwise, the whole weekend is lost.
You've got to wake up and you
Gotta go for it.
and you've got to play to you a bit more.
That's what I've been guilty of a lot in the past. Like this year, I rode with a lot more anger and aggression than I had for a long time, and realised, right, bang, straight the box. You got to hit the nail on the head straight away.
Yeah, what's that time?
You got to get comfortable going that fast straight away.
You don't have to be the fastest round there, but you get a whole shot.
Yeah, you can hold everyone up.
Yeah.
You got a whole shot of a good pulling bike.
Yep.
You've won the race.
Yep.
Unless you get, like somebody like the moves you're on about,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Unless you get them in there, which are fucking really risky, but it's got to be done.
Yeah.
That is the only way to win round it.
So looking ahead to 2024, what are your plans? Not just for the park, but for the season in general. What's the plan?
So we had a year off for classics last year because we had 2 new G50s and they weren't right.
Come on, you want to see them? They're stunning.
Are we going to see an appearance somewhere?
Yeah, but the trouble is, and this is one thing I'd like to do. I'd like to get the classic race back at the park, but it ain't going to happen because of and it's the whole thing of the classic scene now. Them people that done it then and had the passion for it then ain't about now. And and that's why the scene's sort of dying for,
Like, no with CRMC now.
It's coming more of a post-classic club rather than a classic club,
The top three, say a CRMC now in the Lansdowne or whatever. How many of them? How many of the CRMC are national boys as well?
What, like roads or
no, just national?
Oh, most, yeah,
Is it?
they all have a national license, yeah. But as for like the road side, is it?
Do you think they'll have interest in try it out?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be. We push it, we do every year. Like the one year, we got all the golds. When I was riding the Gold Stars, we got the Gold Star Club to come here. And then through the Classic Club, they got a Classic 500A cooled. We got them to come down as well. So we pretty much made, it was almost 2 full grids like of classic bikes. That's on top of more classic races with me already, you know.
And I mean, coming from a fan as well, you know, it's nice to see a wide range on the course of the weekend.
What I really like, the monos would be good to get it, but then he just fuck off anyway.
But again, only probably 4 or 5
half a dozen,
are national boys.
Yeah.
All right, just 4 or 5 more bikes on the grid.
Well, the guy who
bought
bought my Kramer from last year, you know, he was there, weren't he? He was in his 60s or something. He was, and he literally lives 10 minutes from Scarborough. And he obviously the same weekend, and he was going to go there. Dad's like, no, come to the park, and he come down to the park, and he went, oh my God, why haven't I been here before? Yeah. Just bear in mind, there was a swamp out, right?
The thing is, a lot of people.
And his missus was like, "This is fucking great. Yeah. You lot are crazy. Like, what's the matter with you?" Like,
a lot of people have been saying they want to come, and
you just need to get them once.
Just that once. Just come that once.
People don't understand that, like, you know, there's been a couple of meetings we've had recently, and they come there and go, "Wow, this place is awesome." And it's like. I know, which is why we're doing this.
We know.
We know.
This is why we give up our time and our money, and we put all the effort into.
I'd like to get a GP original.
Yeah. I agree.
Lovely, wouldn't it?
I'd love to see feel the TZs.
Yeah, but then you go, like I said, my mate Ant Hart, you know, he's front runner of that. Phil Atkinson, Phil's been in. His arse dropped out of him. He's never been back. Excuse my French, Phil, but you know I'm right. He shit out like no thank you very much.
He didn't want a super mono week. That's what it was.
Yeah. He said to me before he came, he's like, and I get on great with Phil. Like, you know, like a lot of people don't like him, but I get on great with him. Done the shimmy. I made him go white in shimmy because he'd never been here before. I was following him around, like follow me. I was on a little 500 Ducati. He was on TZ 350. And he kept passing me on the straight. I kept riding around the outside of him here, there, and everywhere. And at the top end, you got the Armco. It's not Armco everywhere up there. But obviously in Belgium, France, you got the cycle lanes, haven't you? So like there, your curbs really. Shut the car for the car garage. You got a bit of a jump on it, out to the curb, out into the cycle lane, like over onto the rumble strip. White line is what you call it. Done all that, and I made him go white. For some reason, because of what happened. And at the end of the weekend, I took my mum and I said, go and tell Phil I said, tell him I got that corner sus now. He said, well, rather than white line to white line, tell him we got him dirt to dirt. He went, oh, you got fuck. So ever since then, I've got on great with him. Like, and he's like, what did he put on Facebook? And I'm like, well, are you ready? And I'm like, the question is, are you ready? And he's like, oh fuck. And I seen him Saturday morning. I was like, what's the matter? Look, we're white boy. He's like, and anyway, he's a quality rider.
Yeah, he is good.
So that's the only thing with the GP original boys. You know, you got them top boys that might not want to come.
I know. I'd love to see Dan Jackson wrong there.
Yeah.
Because that boy can pedal a bike.
Yeah.
I know he's like 12 foot tall. But
the Lansdowne would be a great class to have round there. You know, that's some great racing. But you got a lot of older men in there now. You know, that's not what it used to be. You know, when we was doing the British Championship, we had some really good races there. Like it was me, Duncan Fitchett, Spike Edwards, Glenn English.
Like, the vibe they get with Goodwood.
Oh,
I'd love to have that vibe with the classic stuff at Aberdare.
That was.
You raced Goodwood, right?
I've done the revival twice. The third time I got invited when the caravan got nicked. I remember when it's a week before. That place is.
Oh, do you want to buy a caravan?
Rent your 10 like the. It's another one of those things. People tell you what it's like. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. Until you go, it's pointless even telling them. But I don't know what the festival is like because I've never been to the festival. But I know it's just obviously you're up and down the strip, and you
Yeah, hill climb
and
on
you
it,
got all
yeah.
the famous people.
It's still
there.
cool. The festival's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, for
But
the
I
revival.
think
The revival,
Yeah,
like,
rather
you
go
know,
for the race, yeah.
And you got to dress up
Oh,
and do
you
all
can't.
the
yeah.
The first year I
They
went,
still do
there's
it on the
like,
wrong bit,
and it calls them on Friday night, like the
when
first
dressed as a miner.
Give my pipe out, like, yeah.
die the miner, like a die cap on. The first year I went dressed as like some sort of sergeant major type thing, like an dark blue army uniform, like red stripes sort of thing,
Yeah.
one of there. And then the second year I went, it was literally, because the trouble is with that sort of thing, you've got to be there like Thursday afternoon, and they're calling you like Monday, Tuesday, like, then you've got to drop everything and just go, like, so no matter what you got on.
Right.
And you can't say no, because
No.
you won't
You'll
get
get
a call
invited
again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the time I had to say no, because I had no kit, and that was 16, and I've never had to shout
wow,
again,
yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm really good friends with the people that organise
It's
it,
that
the bike
kind of
side
strict,
of
like, I
it.
didn't
Yeah.
realise that.
Yeah, once you're in there,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting in there is like trying to win a million. It's like
Oh,
win
yeah.
the lottery, really. And the second year I went, what did I go as? It was like charity shop, quick, let's go. So I ended up getting like, it was almost like one of the Beatles, had a black wig, had the round glasses, had the white shirt with a grey suit, and the long leg back there.
Look like Bernie Ecclestone.
Yeah, well, it was like a young Bernie, like. But it's just like, you can't, to me, when you get it started on the Thursday night, you have the riders briefing, but it's after the cricket match, when the cricket match is in his front garden of the manor. So you're in the manor, you're looking out, it's the cricket, so where everybody stands for the festival, that's where the cricket match is.
Okay.
You got Spitfires coming down, doing like this.
Sounds quite middle
Yeah.
class
Oh,
to me,
I
yeah.
Then you get...
These are some more dominoes earlier.
Yeah, then you go up into the manor, and then you're out in the back garden having a champagne dinner, like having a champagne party or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you get waking up in the morning by Spitfires, Hercules,
Oh, Aberdare, take note.
all this doing that.
Yeah, we
like,
need to go up a gear, yeah, don't we?
yeah. Then they give you, because it's all based on 50s, 60s, they alternate in between each year, like. So obviously same then with the cars and with the bikes, they alternate in each year. Within the first 10 minutes of me being there, I had a bad neck. Because there was so much hot women dressed up in there, you know, like, you know what I mean? Don't believe like going back to Ibiza again. Like.
Yeah, I think if we did that, we'd probably have to like use Carlin in a champagne flip. Or
Oh,
something.
but
Yeah,
it's like everything is
But it looks
throwback.
awesome.
It's just
Yeah.
throwback. You walk in, they got a man-made Tesco's there. You walk in, obviously I weren't around then, but it's like Tesco's back in the day. You know, you got all it's just unreal. Then they give you, like, when you sign on, they give you a ration book, which is your breakfast, dinner, lunch, because
Right.
it is like a naffy, like an army
Yeah,
naffy.
yeah,
You walk
yeah.
into the big tent and it's all this, but you know, you're sat there and it is literally, excuse me, Jackie Moss is
Stuart.
Stuart, Jack
Stuart,
Moss,
yeah.
Sterling Moss, all these just like massively famous people.
Yeah.
Take that people, Jerry Harrowell, Christian Eccles,
Just an owner.
owner.
Yeah.
It's just all these people, and I don't get starstruck, but I sort of weren't. But like, you can't help but be envious, and you're like,
I was like going
yeah.
to a bit of a time machine as well.
It's almost like, you know, I've made it, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, in terms of again the park next year, like you're going to see APRR back for
Yeah,
some fun. Anything
yeah.
else you looking to
Doing
bring?
Northwest.
No.
Obviously, with the bad news of Ireland,
Yeah.
that's looking
Well, we was
like it's not
well,
happening.
the plan was to go and have a go with it again, but I
What
think-
about going to Europe for any of the IRCs?
I think I'd rather go over there and do it.
Because now
Shimmy, I want to
now
go.
I'd love to go to Chimay, Jardine. Now
I don't know.
I'm thinking.
Shadeen Classic is the same time as the Manx, so that's why we've never gone there.
Well,
I'm
I'm thinking the IRC now needs to step up
and take it over.
and take on.
Yeah.
So how Ireland runs with they got the junior classes, junior support, senior support, 600 super twins, super bikes, and then they've got the smaller classes like the 400 super sport.
Yeah.
and the Motor 3 bikes and stuff.
They have got a good selection of classes out there.
I do think the IRC now needs to, rather than just run Superbike and 600,
and twins or whatever.
needs to bring on the twins and stuff like that.
They do
Because-
sidecars out there, don't they? IRCC.
Well, in
I
Europe,
don't think so. I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
I know like
On
Schleitz.
circuit they do. don't
I know Schleitz and
I thought they
stuff.
had some in Horace, didn't they?
I don't think they do sidecars at Horace. I think it's only like Schleitz and stuff like that. Which is absolutely flat out. I drove round there. I've just been away for a couple of weeks out in Europe doing my job with the bands, and I got to drive past Schleitz, so it was like, up band,
Cheeky lap.
up band sleeping in the back. Oh, why are we going off from Audrey? It's just I don't know. My sat nav's gone mad. It's saying there's a blockage on the road. You know, it's just fucking tricky,
This is
isn't
gonna be
it?
wicked, like, yeah.
Yeah, I would like doing some more European stuff.
Oh,
but I
but
do
like-
a lot of it, like, you know, anyway, don't we?
Like, you know, everyone that comes to Aberdare says, oh, you know, we've had a great time. They treated us right and all that. You know, Valley's open arms job,
Yeah, of
and
course,
you
yeah.
know, we accept everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
But Europe,
it's
like, you know, you've been to Belgium and stuff racing. They just know how to do it a little bit more.
It's-
They
are very hospitable,
they love it
yeah.
out there. They
appreciate
it's-
it for
yeah.
making the effort, like,
laid back,
and you know,
It's, you know, you're not.
I'd like to get some of the European boys over for us as well as the Irish.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the European side, they do it different. Like even the endurance side, they love the endurance over there.
Yeah.
well, that's it. You race the bike, RC.
RC
Yeah,
30
yeah,
team.
What haven't you ridden?
I don't know, R6. That's the R6.
That's the next big thing, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, sort of classic bikes up to a modern bike. It ain't a lot that I haven't ridden, like, really. But yeah, that endurance stuff, them Frenchies, something else, like, you know, they are
Like a party as well.
Oh, this like you go to a 24 hour. We went to obviously Le Mans to watch a GP, sort of 4 years on the bounce, just to spectators on the bikes go over there, have the crack. And it was wild then, and everyone used to say 24-hour paddock, like, it's different. It's on steroids. And this thing is something like Mad Max on steroids and more. It's like I said to everyone, it's one thing you got to experience. Go to Le Mans 24-hour, just for the
party.
paddock,
Yeah,
like, you know, the campsite,
More than just
the campsite thing of it. Yeah, you know. We do the Paul Ricard one as well. That's
What's Paul Ricard like?
that's like it's proper. That
How
back
long-
straight.
What is it?
Yeah.
2 kilometres?
I think it's a mile.
Well, that back, yeah,
Mile.
F1 recently gone back onto it as well.
Yeah,
hasn't
mile and something, isn't it? Mile, just over a mile. Well, then
it? Imagine on a
24,
50. Like,
then 24-hour boys are doing 223 mile an hour at the end of that straight. They go to the bridge, back 2 chuck in. So they do 190 probably through it.
Mad, eh?
different gravy.
I was watching 500 GPs when they went there from the 90s
proper,
on YouTube.
Yeah,
and it's
Paul
mad.
Ricard is good. It's a lot of quite wide, sort of late apexes. But the last time I went there, we went to Spa the week after. We done a 2-week thing. No, that's it's
Spa as well,
Bottom of Eau Rouge.
Well, everyone goes on about that,
Yeah.
and for me,
Out the back.
it was the downhill double left out the back.
Yeah.
When you go up there, you got the little complex bit,
Because it's downhill.
and then it's down down. It's you got the
Cool,
you got like a right.
yeah.
Well, it has a different. It's got a name for it. I think that's the
Right.
corner that hasn't got a name, but it's double left there. And it's
I know what you
like-
mean, yeah.
Could be no
Yeah,
Aston.
but- No, I haven't done it yet. That's just it's there, like, you know.
Aston's
I'd
the
love
one.
to do that one, yeah.
It's a
Dangerous.
good
They gotta
road
do
trip.
the
It's a good
continent,
good
yeah.
road trip. Like,
Yeah. It's
We'd
not
love to see more,
Norman
like,
City.
more Europeans come over. I think they love the park as well. I know I'm small
Yeah.
and technical it is. I think they love it. I
Yeah.
think we all know that. But yeah, I mean, like hopefully
The thing
that will
with
just
the
keep going.
obviously we as ourselves we spoke about it at the park and we know on the inside what's got to change to better it and get it out there. So, you know, one thing is it is the the advertisement of it, like, you know, like I said.
Well, hopefully with what we are doing here and a few
Yeah.
few internal changes, people will start.
Yeah, like I
hearing,
said,
you know.
when we was at the park, and obviously Alex called me up on the mic, because like he says, you know, if anyone's going to tell us straight, it's going to be him, so we'll get him up, and it's right, that, you know. I'm not yet to offend anyone or what's it called. We had to make the best for the park, like, you know.
We all want the same thing.
And like I said, the week leading up to Aberdare, I was literally working around the corner from there, and the only reason I knew it was on, because I knew it was on, unless you drove around past the park, but it was only just the standard poster. The only reason you know it was on is by Tesco's, but there, that little bit. Aberdare race, you know, you had the yellow signed up for the parking. And I went in, I got a bag of chips the one day, and they had a little poster on the chip shop. You know, theoretically, that little poster was the only advertisement I've seen through every valley round here.
Well, like I said, what we were implementing here with doing this Videocast podcast is getting the exposure and putting the name out there, and it seems to be working. So
it's putting the foundations in place to Chris, who's behind the camera as well. You know, we're working quite close every day about trying to take things to the next level. And things are changing.
Yeah, and there's some big news coming.
Yeah, hopefully, I think
sounds good, doesn't it?
Fingers crossed. So,
good.
So it could be huge.
I can't believe.
Keep tuned to your TV, kids.
I can't believe they're going to run it the wrong way. Oh, sorry.
Make a new track.
Absolutely.
So the plans for, I don't know. I'm gonna.
Quads are back.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? I'm gonna go back. We had a year off the CRMC this year. Take a break from it, refresh. So we're gonna go back and give that a couple of goes next year. See what's what. Whether we do the championship, I don't know, because there is a few clashes, and like they've got Alton Park on the same weekend as the Manx. Like, so that's.
Clashes are going to happen anyway.
I know, but
but it's their bread and butter.
They've cocked up big time.
Yeah.
I know with Alton Park, when you can only get it once in a blue moon, and it's only that bank holiday weekend. But you know, anyway, that's a sore subject. So for me, if I'm missing that one, and I think it's going to be another one I'm possibly going to miss. So to me, that's the championship gone, so it's pointless. You know, I've done 11 championships in the club now, so. I don't really.
Do you work like a Nando's card every 10th run? You get a free one, like
a free race.
And for me, my only big goal left really in racing is, of obviously apart from going on top step at the Manx or one or two things, is the 500 championship. Like, you know, we've been so close so many times to it. That's our main thing. But it's a little bit dire at the minute, so we don't really know what's...
Watch your space.
But you know, my sponsor again, he's backed me loads. He just spent another load of money getting the bikes ready for the Manx and for next year now. So I can't really say thanks but no thanks, because it's a bit of a kicking in the air, you know. And obviously I've got a goal I want to finish it. So we'll go and see what that's saying. And then the Aprilia, I think it's just a similar thing to this year. Few North Gloucesters, depending on what's happening with the roads.
Well, it's good. It's good with the Aprilia that you can just jump on it, hit the button,
Tony,
put fuel in it, jump on it, and away
Tony,
to go.
the sponsor, you know, BMR, Build, Maintain, Refurb, North Motorsport, Tony Hart, you know, he's rewarded me with the Aprilia this year for delivering him the championship on the mono last year. And it was a 2-year deal, so you know,
relationships like that are really gonna help.
Yeah, and you know, we're really good mates. I've just done a load of work for him in the summer, like, you know. So it's
we know. It'd be nice to get on that BMR Kramer in British, mate.
Well, he just bought a Fireblade. Well, yeah, he's bought the Kramer that's racing in the Moto 2 in British. He's the main sponsor for them. He helps. Tom Buffet-Moss, he helps a few little kids, a few little people. Luke Fitchett.
Yeah, he just started helping Luke.
Yeah, Luke Fitchett, keep the name, because he is going to be like, he's the next best thing. Luke Fitchett is.
Good kid.
Proper kid, proper family. I raced with his dad. I was teammates with his dad for years. Like, he's a proper doer. Like, he's your fab British mini bike champion and what have you, so he's going to go and race in Spain next year and do some bits. So yeah, Tony's got that, and we are lucky enough. And even though, and this is where I'm even luckier, where like even though I've got all these sponsors that pay and give me a surface, it's all in house.
Yeah.
So my dad's the main mechanic. He does everything.
Course, yeah,
he does all. Even though I've got my sponsors, I wouldn't be racing if it weren't for my old man, because he literally does. He does everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, a good chat.
Know where he is in the paddock, because it's a plume of smoke, or it's somebody's language going somewhere. He's probably pissing somebody off somewhere or what have you, but.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, he's just one of them characters you get on the new. But for what he's done for me as my racing, I can't thank him enough. And he's done it, like I say, done the right way. He didn't chuck it all at me. Do it when you pay yourself. And then when I proved myself, and I proved that is what I wanted, he went right. Fucking
that's good.
hung his levels up and
Off we go.
Pass the torch.
That's exactly how you want to do it.
So I'm lucky enough I can do what I want to do with the bike. It's not like I had the Aprilia on the aspect of doing the full Irish series for the Manx. That was the plan. That was the main plan, same as a lot of others, and then obviously it died to death. I'd done Cookstown, but I won't go back next year. I don't think I'd go back next year to do that like with yourself. You want to do the tandem together.
You may as well do the two.
So, and I know what I can do around Shimmy on a classic super bike, should we say, or like a classic twin. They were only like a second faster than me on the twins than what I were on my old Doris, like with 18s and a single disc. So I'd like to go there, and I've never been beat round there on a classic bike either. So I'd like to go there to see what's what. I had the outright lap record there for 5 years straight on a classic bike,
Class.
And Luke Norton only beat me by 0.001, but I was on his wheel over it anyway.
Yeah.
But we was in the same race, but he was on the 2-stroke, I was on the 4-stroke. But again, like for me, Luke Norton, he's the king of class. He was one of the kings, So between him, like your Glenn Englishes and unfortunately, I didn't get to race with Lee Goldie because he had a big one at Ulster.
No, I don't know.
One of Farquhar. When they done the Ulster Grand Prix, they put a classic race back in the other year, and he went over there on Winfield's pattern, the 500, and Farquhar gave him an SV to get his laps in on it. Typically, he's gone out, he's clicked, he's actually passed Farquhar on the twin. And what are you doing? Obviously, he's still with us, right? And he does all your TZ 350s now, your Phil Atkinson bikes and all that. He's the man for that. So when I seen them two going at it, I'm like, if I'm anywhere near as good as them, I'll be happy, And me and Glenn have gone bar to bar many a times. I've beat Glenn many a times. Well, I was under a Phillip Island. I was underneath Lee's lap record on the TZ 350, and nobody can beat him on one. Like, I was under the lap record. Last lap, halfway through, I went out of petrol.
All the way over there as well for that.
I haven't forgotten that, have you?
Fuming, like literally.
Yeah.
Right,
Can't go with it then, let me tell you.
should we wrap this up?
Yeah, no, Al's been brilliant to have you on as our first.
No, thank you very much.
I say proper guest. I say proper guest, but I'll can't do that one. But I'll.
Didn't talk about everything I wanted to, but it's just. I missed loads.
You'll be back on.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do a part 2. But thanks for coming tonight, mate. It's really appreciate it.
Buy your tickets.
Yes. Tickets are actually on sale.
Support
on the website at the moment.
3rd and 4th August.
3rd and 4th of August.
Good date.
It's a good day.
It's gonna be a sunny one.
We'll wait on that one.
But that's the bullshit thing, isn't it? The last 2 years, it's been absolutely gorgeous, for months and months and months.
Yep.
Soon as the fucking week of the park comes, it just.
Well, last year was all right.
It was one extreme to the other, with the park. But But yeah, tickets are on sale. Tickets are actually selling really well straight away. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And there's more news coming out. We're going to get more guests coming through. I think this is, Chris, is this going out before Christmas? Hopefully.
Fingers
Pull your finger
So,
out then.
So let's pretend it is going out before Christmas.
Shave our tash off, it might happen. Right?
I think it looks good.
I think it's great. I like
Makes
it.
him look handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth showing.
Yeah, look at
It's-
I thought he was coming for me, Ian.
that's for when the cans are off.
It's only a commercial, Chris. You calm down.
But yes, this will be out before Christmas. Fingers crossed. If that's the case, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
And if it's not, I hope you had a great
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah. Hope you had a good Christmas. Happy New Year.
I will see you in the new year when we'll try and sort something else out, I guess.
See you when the
Spring.
flag drops.